Yeah, man! You need to keep these spaghetti long. The way to keep them long is put it in the water slowly. As it cooks, it softens. That way it's easier to curve, and then it just curve all the way down into the boiling water. When you reach the end, use a spoon like this and keep it. So when eating these meals, you'll enjoy it better if the noodles are kept long. The spaghetti kept long. Hello, my name is Miguel, and today I'm gonna make for you spicy chicken tomato stew. Visit JamaicaDinners.com for the recipe. I'm using a chicken's breast today. 6 plummy tomatoes, a stack of scallion, 3 between 4 garlic cloves, medium-sized onion, 1 tablespoon of ground cayenne pepper, a tablespoon of parsley, a tablespoon of basil, need half a teaspoon of oregano, a teaspoon of marjoram, a teaspoon of grinded rosemary, half teaspoon dried pimento berries. The pimento berries is optional. And need 2 whole cloves. I gather all my ingredients starting with the herbs. So I'm measuring a tablespoon of dried parsley. You can use any of these herbs fresh. I'm adding a tablespoon of basil, a teaspoon of marjoram, half teaspoon oregano, I'm adding 1 teaspoon of grinded fine rosemary. Find 2 whole cloves and put them down as well. Gather the herbs, keep all the herbs together and keep the spices together. Now measure half teaspoon of dried pimento berries and place it with the whole cloves. Keep the spices together. Now with the garlic, remove the leaf, cut off ends, trim spoilage. Now with the onion, what I like to do is cut it in half, that way it's easier to handle. Remove the brown leaf, cut off ends. The first layer of the onion is the strongest, so if you can save it, that would be good. Remove dying leaves from the scallion, cut off ends. Cut off the tip of the dying leaf, that's dying, and the root end. Now get a bowl, add some water, enough water, drizzle 2 tablespoons thereabout of distilled white vinegar. Wash off the garlics first. So put these aside. I don't want the water to get in my herbs. Alright, do as you see me doing and use your fingers and rub the scallions leaf clean. Now add your tomatoes. Use your finger and rub the tomatoes clean as well. The riper the tomatoes, the better it is for this meal. Alright, so once you have done that, throw off that water, throw on fresh water and give it a final rinse. It's best if you do this part under fresh running water. Next, dice scallion. Fine. If you're unsure, do as you see me doing. Slice onion. Or you can dice the onions if you want to for this meal. Now with the garlic, grind garlic to puree, or you can mash it to pulp. I like to use this grinder, it's not sharp. Keep ingredients separate and in one place. Alright, so this is our vegetables and herbs, the seasonings. Now with the tomato, cut off the stem end and then cut each tomato in 1/8. Do as you see me doing. The riper the tomato, the better it is for this meal. And while you're cutting, look for spoilage. Sometimes inside the tomato you might have a little worm or some of the seeds going bad. After that, gather your chopped tomatoes in a bowl. Now cover it and put it aside for later. Alright, now we're gonna debone. You can always buy boneless chicken in the supermarket. In the supermarket or the grocery or market. I'm gonna try and debone the chicken before I wash it. I'm just gonna remove the skin from the chicken's breast. I like to use this whenever I'm dealing with meat. I like to just get a newspaper, place it on the countertop. That way when I'm finished, I just take up everything and throw it out. I removed the chicken's breast skin. Now get a sharp knife. Now I'm using a sharp knife in my right hand. I got between the chicken's flesh and the bone, and I'm trying to trim the flesh from the chicken's bone. We're not trying to be professional here, we're just trying to get it done. Just be careful and don't get hurt. Get between the chicken's flesh and the bone. Debone the chicken. You gotta be patient with this part. Oh yes, a chicken's breast is white meat. A chicken's thigh and the leg is dark meat. So if you like white meat, you can do breast for this meal. If you like dark meat, you can use a chicken's leg or a chicken's thigh. You can debone a chicken's leg or a chicken's thigh for this meal. Either one is just as delicious in this meal. Go through patiently and separate the chicken's flesh from the bone and debone the chicken. This is a wishbone. This is half of a wishbone. I'm trying to just separate it from the chicken. Alright, so that's the idea. That's what you want. Alright. Next step. The next step is to wash the chicken's breast properly. It's best if you do this part under running water. What I'm doing now is I added some water to the bowl. Now I'm drizzling several drops of distilled white vinegar. I'm just trimming the excess fat from around the chicken's breast. Wash your chicken properly, look for grain, look for anything that's not chicken and clean it properly. And be sure when you go to the grocery, get fresh chicken, fresh poultry. It should be pink and pretty. Throw off this water. Like I said, it's best if you do this part on the running water. Run the water over the chicken and wash it off properly. So give it a final rinse. This is just for demonstration purpose. Drain it, kind of squeeze it ever so firmly and remove the excess water. Now we are gonna cut strips, I call it. I don't know if there's another name. You can call it, some people call it flakes. But I'm going to cut some strips as big as your finger. Get a knife, a sharp knife, cut strips alongside the length of the chicken, and then just turn it the other way and cut it in half, like this. You see, you don't want to cut them too fine. You want to have nice little chunks so that people will be able to, pick it up and chew it. See, you want it as big as your finger or thereabout. Alright, this is the idea. We are on the right track for spicy chicken tomato stew. You see this oil? I used this oil, this cooking oil, to do spicy deep fried chicken. I forgot to say that you should keep the oil separate. If you do regular fried chicken, don't mix it up with this. And kind of cover it, and next time you fry spicy chicken, you can use back the same oil. Get your grounded cayenne pepper. It's a tablespoon of cayenne pepper. So get a full tablespoon of cayenne pepper, grounded cayenne pepper, and add it to your prepared chicken chunks within the bowl. Now, get a spoon, a cooking spoon like this. Coat each chicken chunks evenly with grounded cayenne pepper. Do as you see me doing. Coat chicken chunks with grounded cayenne pepper. Once you do that, get a lid that can go over the bowl and cover it seal. Just allow it to marinate or sit until cooking. This is our herbs, vegetables, the salt. Now I can decide what I want. I know I was going to use a tablespoon of salt, so measure a tablespoon of salt, put half in the chicken chunks that's coated with the cayenne pepper, and coat each piece with salt as well, and put the other half salt aside for later. If you're not going to cook now, keep the fumes of the onion and your chopped vegetables contained by covering it. Now put to heat a saucepan. I'm using a medium-sized saucepan. Put the stove gauge on 4. Be sure no water is in the pan. Allow it to dry out for a minute. After a minute between 2 and no water is in the saucepan, stove gauge is on 4. Measure and add between a cup and a half of cooking oil. I use coconut oil. I'm making a mess when I'm adding the oil that way. It's better to add the oil this way. Once you add the oil, just allow the oil to get hot. Once you see a little smoke, that's a sign to say it's ready for frying. After between 5 minutes and the oil got hot and you see a little smoke, that's a sign to say the oil is hot enough and it's ready for frying. Now gather your chicken chunks that's coated with cayenne pepper. Do as you see me doing and just take up big clumps and add it to the eating oil. As you add it to the eating oil, allow it to stay for 40 seconds between a minute before you stir it. After 40 seconds or so, just get a cooking spoon like this and kind of rotate the chicken chunks in the eating oil and just allow it to fry. This is the only time we're going to move it till it's halfway finished. After 4 minutes, now would be a good time to kind of flip the chicken chunks or rotate the chicken chunks. Once you do that, allow stove gauges on 4 medium low. 6 minutes later, this is what it looks like. If you're unsure if the chicken is cooked, all you need to do is take one piece, break it. If you don't see anything like flesh, like chicken flesh, like what you were cutting, it's cooked. Chicken pieces don't take much to cook, about 6 minutes and it's ready. Alright, so it's cooked. Turn the stove down on low. Now remove, get a spoon that scoops, or you can do it this way, just be careful and remove 90% of the oil. You can get a spoon that scoops and just take each scoop out until you got out most of it. Once you do that, move or shift the cooked chicken chunks or pieces on one side of the saucepan. Now add your spices, the dried pimento berries and the whole cloves to the eating oil. The stove gauge is on low, reduces the risk of the berries bursting and hurting you. Allow the berries to flavor the oil for about 5 minutes. The stove gauge is on low, allow. And if you can, put the berry over the heat. Or at some point you can tilt the saucepan over the heat and put the edge part over the heat and just allow the berries to flavor the oil. By us doing it this way, don't have to worry about taking out berries while eating. After 5 minutes, remove the berries from the eating oil. You should be able to smell the aroma from the berries burning in the eating oil or the spices. After that, add your diced onion to the half side of the saucepan, not in the cooked chicken chunks. Allow to saute. Stir in a few times, allow to saute. Add the scallion as well. Keep the chicken chunks separate on the other half side of the saucepan. 10-15 seconds later, add the mashed garlic to the vegetable side. Stir it in to the vegetable side of the saucepan. Stir it in a few times, allow it to saute. Now, add half of your herbal. A bunch of herbs together is called a herbal. So add half of it to the stew. Now stir in everything. Once the onions are sauteed somewhat, add in additional flavors. Use a cooking spoon and stir in, stir in. Stir in the vegetables, coat the chicken chunks with the herbs, flavor it with your sauteed onions. After that, turn the stove off or turn it on low, very, very low, and remove your cooked chicken chunks. Do as you see me doing. These cooked chicken chunks look delicious as they are. Next step, turn the stove back on. Put the stove's gauge on 4, medium low. Now, add your chopped tomatoes to the sauteed onions that we left in the saucepan. Now add other half of herbal along with the half tablespoon salt. I use sea salt. Once you do that, stir in a few times and allow. This part, you're gonna have to take a minute between 2 and cook the tomatoes. Add 1 tablespoon of wine vinegar. You can use distilled white vinegar instead. Do as you see me doing. You're gonna stir in the chopped tomatoes and allow it on the heat. The stove gauge is on 4. Just allow it to stay for a minute between 2. After a minute, you're gonna stir it in. After a minute between 2, stir it in. Now add half cup water. The spoon that I'm using measures 1/4 cup. Add half cup water to your tomato stew. Use the saucepan's lid and cover the saucepan properly. Stove's gauge is on 4, medium low, allow. Keep the lid on within the time. If you must shake the pan, do as I'm doing. It's been 3 minutes, allow. After 5 minutes, this is what it looks like. It should be ready about now. Your stew is thickening. Oh yes, and some of you guys who are against using the tomato skin, you can always remove it. Just put it in hot water and then put it in cold water and the skin comes off easy. You can always turn the stove up on 6, leave the lid off, stir your stew in and thicken the gravy. Once the stew starts sticking to the pot's bottom, that's a sign to say it's ready. That's a sign to say it's thick enough. You see it starts sticking. So turn the stove off we're finished. Now add your spicy cooked chicken chunks. Stir it in a few times. Moist up your chicken chunks. Use the pan's lid. Cover it until serving. It's best served within the time. Before serving, stir your pots in and take a scoop of this delicious looking spicy chicken tomato stew, and I'm having it today with spaghetti. This is spicy chicken tomato stew. Visit JamaicaDinners.com for the recipe. Subscribe, like, share. When you cook this meal yourself, give us feedback. Spicy chicken tomato stew. Spicy chicken tomato stew. I'm just gonna add some more stew over my meal before eating. I'm sorry, you have to watch me eat this spicy chicken tomato stew. I'm gonna add some Parmesan powdered cheese on it. I want to taste it first. It's tangy and it's a nice meal. A lovely, healthy, cooked with herbs tomato stew meal with chicken. So it's spicy chicken tomato stew. It's lovely. I'm enjoying it. So now I'm going to sprinkle some Parmesan over it. The chicken is not so spicy. I'll give it about 10% spiciness. It's not even spicy. This meal is unique. It's probably new. I'm not sure. I was not inspired by anybody. To be honest, how I came up with the idea, I was trying to figure out some vegetarian, vegan meals, because on the channel people say they like my vegetable meals, so I should do more meals like that. So I was thinking of some vegetarian. Remember, the pepper is very, very low, about 10%. I was thinking upon some vegetarian meals, and the first one I did was codfish. No, it was oh, chickpeas. It's chickpeas. I'm trying to remember, but something. I did one meal first. Oh, chickpeas. I think it was chickpeas, cauliflower, tomato stew. That's what I did. And when I did it, I said, whoa, this tastes really nice. The tomato stew came out nice. So it gave me the idea to do a lot of other more meals. A lot of other more meals. And then I did one with like a cauliflower pepper stew. And the cauliflower pepper stew came out nice. It's a little bit different method. It's a different type of recipe. So I have a series of pepper stewed with various different vegetables, recipes, and tomato stews with various different recipes coming. For vegan, and I also created for regular people, which is the chicken, and I've done meatballs as well. So you're gonna see meatballs, tomato stew. You have seen chicken, tomato stew. This one is a spicy chicken tomato stew. But there's about 20 different types of vegan cooking recipes that I've done already. And they all taste lovely with mushrooms and cauliflower and various things. I cooked mushrooms fresh. Alright guys, so you see me enjoying this meal. It's a lovely meal. The tomato breaks down lovely with the herbs and make this meal tangy. It's lovely. The cheese, I'm not even tasting the cheese per se. They probably take the calories out of it, I don't know, but it kind of, the cheese melt over the spaghetti with the sauce and so forth, kind of combine. It kind of combine the meal together. So when I'm taking it up, it's much easier. When I'm taking it up with my fork, it's much easier. Afterwards, I felt a little heat on my tongue. It feels good. So how I was inspired for these meals is really by doing vegan recipes. The very first one was chickpeas, cauliflower, tomato stew. That was the very first one, and from that I got the idea of adding codfish, chicken, meatballs, various different vegetables. You're gonna enjoy them. Alright, until next time, bye. Yeah, man!